Welcome back to the channel. Today I've brought the explanation of the chapter The Ailing Planet, the Green Movement's Role for Class 9th, written by Nani Palkiwala. Now this chapter is in the form of an article, so we'll be taking up paragraph-wise explanation from this PDF. Let's get started with it. Now before we start, here are a few expressions that are used in the text. Let's take up their meanings first. So the first one is a holistic and ecological view. Now what does this mean? Holistic का मतलब है overall, taking everything into consideration in harmony. So holistic and ecological view, यहाँ पे अर्थ जो है that is considered and referred to as a living and breathing organism and is looked after properly. So it is a view wherein preservation and conservation is given more importance than using up of Earth's resources. So एक overall view लिया गया है जिसमें Earth को एक living entity माना गया है. So it is important that we preserve and conserve Earth under this view rather than just using up the resources. Next one is sustainable development. अब इसका मतलब है to be able to continue, to sustain or to support something over a period of time. तो यहाँ पे किसको support करना है? We have to support our planet. So this expression it is used to describe the natural resources when their use it is kept at a steady pace that is not likely to damage the environment. So जितना natural resources हमें ज़रूरत है हम उतना ही use up करें, हम उससे ज़्यादा use ना करें. So we are not to damage the environment. We have to keep it safe for the future generation. So that is sustainable development. Next is languish. Now languish means to exist unknown. Then is ignominious darkness. Now ignominious it means shameful or a sorry state. Darkness यहाँ पे है lack of knowledge or lack of enlightenment. So it is a sorry state that we lack knowledge about many species. So as it is used in the chapter, as it is used in the text, sorry state है because we lack knowledge about millions of species. They are yet to be discovered. Then the next is inter alia. Inter alia it means among other things. Then decimated. Decimated means depleted. Then is catastrophic depletion. It means a disastrous reduction in the number of forests. Transcending concern is the next one. Now transcending concern is, transcending means to cut across, to cut barriers. So it is not about the present alone, but it is about the future. So the concern, it is not only limited to the present, it crosses present and it goes into future. हमें present के साथ साथ future की भी जो है हमें concern future का भी है. That our future generation, they should not go without any resources. So these are the few expressions that will be used up in the chapter. Now let's start with the explanation. So the following article, as I've already told you, ये article नानी पालखीवाला ने लिखा है और ये publish हुआ था The Indian Express on 24th November 1994, way back. But ये article में जो issue उठाया गया है वो आज भी relevant है. So the issues that he raised regarding the declining health of the earth continue to have relevance even today. So theme of the chapter is declining health of the earth. So let's get started with this. One cannot recall any movement in world history which has gripped the imagination of the entire human race so completely and so rapidly as the Green Movement, which started nearly 25 years ago. So now this 25 years ago is related to when this chapter or with this article it was written. So this is a very important issue that has been raised, and entire human race it is dependent on the health of the earth. So this green movement it started nearly 25 years ago and it has gripped the imagination of entire human race. In 1972, the world's first nationwide Green Party was founded in New Zealand. Since then, the movement has not looked back. So it has taken pace and it has gripped the imagination because it is such an important issue. And people have realized that without taking care of Earth, without taking care of our planet, our own survival is going to be in danger. So we have shifted, one hopes, irrevocably from the mechanistic view to a holistic and ecological view of the world. So now the author says that this realization has come on us and therefore we have shifted, one hopes कि हमें लगता है कि हमने शिफ्ट कर ली है अपनी सोच irrevocably that cannot be changed and the author hopes कि अब हमारी जो सोच है वो दोबारा नहीं बदलेगी from a mechanistic view. What is mechanistic view? Mechanistic view एक self-centered view है in which one takes care of only one's needs without the slightest concern for repaying or repairing. So mechanistic view एक mechanical view है जिसमें हम सिर्फ अपने बारे सोचते हैं और हम कुछ वापस देने के बारे में बिल्कुल नहीं सोचते बट नाउ द ऑथर सेज कि ये जो व्यू है ये चेंज हो गया है टू अ होलिस्टिक एंड इकोलॉजिकल व्यू सो होलिस्टिक एंड इकोलॉजिकल व्यू जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया इट टेक्स एवरीथिंग इनटू अकाउंट अ शिफ्ट इन ह्यूमन परसेप्शंस इट इज सीन नाउ. Earlier, the thinking was to use up all the resources that ones need without taking care of any preservation or conservation. लेकिन अब जो ये perception है, अब जो ये view है, वो change हो गया है. So it is a shift in human perceptions as revolutionary as that introduced by Copernicus, who taught mankind in the 16th century that the earth and the other planets revolved around the sun. अब ऑथर जो है वो कहता है कि ये जो चेंज है ये जो है शिफ्ट है थिंकिंग में ये एक इतना रेवोल्यूशनरी चेंज है जैसा एक रेवोल्यूशनरी टर्न तब आया था जब कॉपर्निकस ने 16th सेंचुरी में ये अनाउंस किया था कि जो अर्थ है एंड अदर प्लैनेट्स है जो वो रिवॉल्व करते हैं around the sun. Earth is not at the center as it was thought. So he announced that Earth and other planets they revolve around the sun. So it was a revolutionary change, revolutionary thought that was taken up by Copernicus. Now this realization of coexistence, the author says, is a revolutionary turn. So अब जो हमारे अंदर ये realization आई है कि हमने coexist करना है with all the living beings on this planet. So ये एक revolutionary turn है because इसके बाद we will start taking care of Earth. So this turn has been compared to the commotion or stir in the sentiments caused when Copernicus declared that the Earth and the other planets revolve around the sun. So उस time जब सब लोग ये सोचते थे कि Earth जो है that is the center, that is at the center. So वो जब कॉपरनिकस ने बताया कि ये सोच गलत है and he gave a new thought that Earth and other planets they revolve around the sun. Sun जो है वो center में है. So इस चीज को अपनाना, इस सोच को बदलना it was a difficult thing. But it happened. The revolution happened. So same, the author is saying that same kind of revolution has happened now. So for the first time in human history, there is a growing worldwide consciousness that the earth itself is a living organism. So अब हम earth को एक living organism की तरह treat करते हैं. An enormous being of which we are parts. So अब हम इस earth के parts हैं. Before that, we used to think that we dominate everything. Everything on the planet, it is for us. Now, the thinking has changed that we are a part of it. It has its own metabolic needs and vital processes which need to be respected and preserved. So Earth has its own needs. Earth has its own vital processes. All the cycles, all the ecosystems that are there on the Earth, they are to be preserved and conserved for our own survival. The Earth's vital signs reveal a patient and declining health. Now, this is a metaphor used by the author. So he has compared Earth, the state of Earth, to a patient in declining health, unless we take care of that patient. So we have begun to realize our ethical obligations to be good stewards of the planet and responsible trustees of the legacy to future generations. So now the author says that now we have begun to realize that change has occurred in us. And now we realize our ethical obligations, and our obligation is to be good stewards of the planet. Now, what does the author mean by stewards here? Stewards here is, it means to look after, someone who looks after or who manages something. So we are to look after our planet. We have to look after the earth. And we have to become responsible trustees. Trustees is a custodian or keeper of something. So we have to become responsible trustees of our planet, of the legacy. Legacy is heritage to future generations. So we have to keep this resources safe for our future generations. So the idea of conserving and preserving the planet for future generations is becoming popular. The concept of sustainable development. Sustainable development, as I've already explained, it means fulfilling the needs of the present, only the needs, not the greed. The aim is that we leave resources for our future generations. We don't strip the earth of all its natural resources and bounties. So हमने सब अपने लिए यूज नहीं कर लेना है. So this concept, it was popularized in 1987 by the World Commission on Environment and Development. In its report, it defined the idea as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So हमने future generations जो है उसके लिए भी कुछ बचा के रखना है. That is without stripping the natural world of resources future generations would need. So ये हो गया sustainable development. So this is an important question. Now then the author writes about a peculiar thing. So he says that in the zoo at Lusaka, Zambia, there is a cage where the notice reads, the world's most dangerous animal. The world's most dangerous animal. And there, inside the cage, there is a mirror where you see yourself. So it means that man is the world's most dangerous animal. So thanks to the efforts of a number of agencies in different countries, a new awareness has now dawned upon the most dangerous animal. So now the author says that a new awareness has dawned upon this animal, the world's most dangerous animal, जो कि हम हैं. So now he says that he has realized the wisdom of shifting from a system based on domination to one based on partnership. So जैसे मैंने बताया peaceful coexistence. So अब ये change, ये awareness हमारे अंदर आ गया है. From domination, we have shifted to peaceful coexistence. Now let's read further. Scientists, they have catalogued about 1.4 million species with which mankind shares the earth. So itni living species हैं. Estimates vary widely as regards the still uncatalogued living species. So इससे भी ज़्यादा maybe species अभी तक uncatalogued है, अभी तक discover नहीं हुए. So biologists, they reckon that about 3 to 100 million of other living species, they still languish unnamed in ignominious darkness. So reckon is to estimate and calculate. So it says that estimate ये लगाया जाता है कि अभी भी 3 to 100 million other living species हैं जो कि अभी तक they are or they stay undiscovered. अभी तक उनका पता ही नहीं लगा है. Unnamed, they are still unnamed, and these are lying in ignominious darkness. Ignominious darkness means that it is a shameful act on our part that we are still not able to discover them. They are still living in dark. Then the author says that one of the early international commissions which dealt inter alia, so inter alia I told you it is among other things, with the question of ecology and environment was Brannett Commission, which had a distinguished Indian as one of its members. So Mr. L.K. Jha was the member of this commission, and in this report, the first Brannett report, it raised a very important question. The question it raised was that are we to leave our successors a scorched planet, a burned, scalded or parched planet of advancing deserts, impoverished landscapes. So impoverished means depleted, exhausted in resources, and ailing environment. Ailing here is sick, unhealthy, polluted environment. So this was the question that was raised in the first Branded report. Mr. Lester R. Brown, in his thoughtful book, The Global Economic Prospect, points out that the Earth's principal biological systems are four. The principal biological systems of Earth, they are fisheries, forests, grasslands and croplands. अब इन चारों systems पे पूरी economy जो है वो बेस्ड है. So they form the foundation of the global economy. In addition to supplying our food, these four systems provide virtually all the raw materials for the industry. So ये चारों systems में से सब कुछ, so all raw materials, they come for the industries and every other thing except the minerals and petroleum derived synthetics. So जो कि हमें अर्थ में से मिलते हैं, minerals and petroleum derived synthetics. Rest everything we get from these four systems. तो अगर ये four systems disturb हो गए, so सारी की सारी इकोनॉमी जो है that will come or that will collapse और human survival जो है वो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा. So in large areas of the world, human claims on these systems are reaching an unsustainable level. So the author now says कि बहुत सारे दुनिया के हिस्सों में human claim means in resources के ऊपर कब्जा जो है human beings का वो इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ गया है that it has reached a level from where going back has become almost impossible. एक unsustainable level जहाँ से support हम नहीं कर सकते आगे उस stage पे पहुंच गया है. So a point where the productivity is being impaired. So impaired here means the productivity has decreased, it has diminished. So और resources वहां से कैसे आएंगे जब हम उनको resources को बहुत तेजी से utilize कर रहे हैं. Now when this happens, अब अगर ये ऐसा हो गया, fisheries will collapse, forests will disappear, grasslands they are converted into barren wastelands and croplands deteriorate. So चारों के चारों systems जो है वो collapse हो जाएंगे and it will become very difficult for our survival. In a protein conscious and protein hungry world, now what is the meaning of this phrase? It means that plenty of protein is needed to feed the population of the world. अब जैसे जैसे population बढ़ रही है, so उस population को feed करने के लिए we need more resources, and protein is very important part of human diet. So इस population को protein देने के लिए, so जो population which is in billions, so it puts the whole stress on the ecosystem. And animal-based protein is expensive and it is slow to produce. Thus, it has a devastating impact on our resources. So ये protein conscious and protein hungry world जो है इसके कारण overfishing has become very common. In poor countries, local forests they are being decimated. So decimated means depleted. So forests they are being depleted in order to procure firewood for cooking. अब cooking के लिए firewood चाहिए और उसके लिए forests कट रहे हैं. In some places, the firewood has become so expensive that what goes under the pot now costs more than what goes inside it. So this is the irony now. हम अब इस stage पे पहुंच गए हैं कि what goes under the pot that costs more than what goes inside it. Firewood जो है वो इतनी expensive हो गई है कि जो हम फूड कुक कर रहे हैं उस फायरवुड के साथ वो सस्ता है और फायरवुड महंगी है. So this is the irony and we ourselves are responsible for this stage. Since the tropical forest is, in the words of Dr. Myers, the powerhouse of evolution, several species of life face extinction as a result of this destruction. अब ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट जो है वो पावर हाउस एवोल्यूशन के, उनको क्यों पावर हाउस कहा जाता है? जो ट्रॉपिकल फॉरेस्ट हैं, they are the ultimate habitat of all sorts of life. They host about half of the world's species in just 6 to 7% of its land area. So tropical forest जो है इसमें सबसे ज्यादा हमें species मिलती हैं. So what happens when tropical forests they are destroyed? So the greatest number of plants and animal species they are living here. Thus it is the powerhouse of evolution. But when this powerhouse is destroyed, then these species they will face extinction. So there will be destruction and there will be imbalance. So several species of they will face extinction because of the destruction of this powerhouse. It has been well said that forests precede mankind and deserts follow. So this is important that forests they precede mankind and deserts follow. Now, what this expression means? It means that forests, they existed before mankind. Forests हमसे पहले थे. But as population increased, the demands on natural resources also increased. This has resulted in the destruction of forests. When forests are destroyed, land becomes barren, dry, and as a result, wastelands and deserts appear. So, forests जो हैं वो हमारे पहले exist करते थे, लेकिन हमारी गलतियों के कारण deserts they'll follow. The world's ancient patrimony of tropical forests is now eroding. So ये जो tropical forests हैं, जो power house है evolution के, ये erode कर रहे हैं. So patrimony of tropical forests. Patrimony here means heritage, wealth or inheritance. So ये जो wealth थी, ecosystem जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा species हमें मिलती हैं, तो that is being eroded now, and at a very high speed. At the rate of 40 to 50 billion acres a year. And the growing use of dung for burning deprives the soil of an important natural fertilizer. And we are using dung for burning as firewood. So it is also depriving the soil of the important natural fertilizer. The World Bank estimates that a five-fold increase in the rate of forest planting is needed to cope with the expected fuel wood demand in the year 2000. Now, the year 2000 has passed. Another 20 years have added, but the situation is almost the same. So, World Bank estimated at that time that we need to speed up a five-fold increase to plant forests is required. But I think that now we need to double the speed. Tenfold increase is required actually. Now, James Speth, the president of the World Resources Institute, said the other day, we were saying that we are losing the forest at an acre a second, but it is much closer to an acre and a half to a second. So he believes that what we said earlier, that forests or we are losing forests at an acre per second, that is wrong, because we are much closer to losing the forest at a speed of an acre and a half to a second. So this is a very high speed at which we are losing our forests and we are taking ourselves towards doom. Now in this first part, I'll be explaining till here because otherwise it will become monotonous. I'll be taking rest of the chapter in the second part. So happy watching and I hope that you liked the explanation.